So let us start with Father Abraham. He sent his servant to look for, he said he doesn't want his son to marry from Canaan. So he sent him to Mesopotamia. It was not the choice of Isaac. Isaac could have found somebody there, but the father did not want. Let us look at another, when you look at 1 Samuel 25:25, Abigail, who was married to Nabal. When David got angry and wanted to come and kill Nabal, who was the husband of Abigail, Abigail, on hearing that David was coming to kill her husband, ran ahead, met David, knelt down, and said, I know my husband Nabal is a wicked and ill-tempered man. If you were to look at the King James Version, she said, let not my Lord, I pray thee, regard this man of Belial, that is her husband. She described her husband as a man of Belial. For as his name is, so is folly with him. For his name means fool. She said, as his name is, that is who he is. She described her husband as a fool, just as Nabal means fool. It means folly. So please, don't be angry. Now the question is, why would Abigail, knowing the man is how would I describe it? A child of Belial and a foolish man, how did she end up marrying him? The answer was simple. The choice was not hers. The choice was with her parents. Look at Jacob. Why was he deceived into marrying Leah when he wanted Rachel? He worked 7 years. Why? Because the choice of a wife was not with him, nor with Rachel, but with the father. Courtship takes the choice away from the bride or the groom, but gives to the family or the institution who overlooks it. So I now wonder, ladies and gentlemen, where the major question for me is, where is it written in the Bible that we must practice courtship? Or let me put it as Christians call it, we must practice Christian courtship. Where is it in the Bible? I have asked. In fact, one of my volunteers had this argument in the church 2 weeks ago when they were talking about relationships and they were insisting that they must court. And he had heard me teach about it, and he told them that, okay, please show us in the Bible, and it became a problem when they said no. And the teacher had to call him privately outside and said, this is what is in the handbook of the church. So I look at it that the handbook of a church or a manual of a church or the Bible, which are we to follow? The question is, where is that written in the Bible that as Christians what we must do is courtship? They are totally different, because courtship originally is intended to persuade towards marriage and takes the choice away. You see, that is why some people in relationships, when you are saying, this person, the way he is, then whoever is, but I want you to marry, don't worry, they nudge you into the marriage, even though you have seen something you don't want. Why? Because you had given the authority of choice to another person to make. They'll say, no, don't worry, every marriage has its own problems. So, it is understanding. Meanwhile, you know that there is something wrong. And that is the problem when it is being imposed on you that this is the form of relationships you must follow. When you look at Samson in Judges 14:2, he told his parents, he said, I have seen a Philistine woman in Timnah. Now get her for me as wife. That is what the practice, the Jewish tradition, when they see a woman, the family goes to meet the other family, and once the family, that is the parents, have agreed, the woman has no choice. Courtship takes away the power, the right to accept or to refuse from you. And it is already designed to nudge you into a marriage. So when you subscribe to that school of thought, there is no retreat or no surrender from that relationship. Whereas dating gives you a permanent right to say yes or no to whomever.
Yes.
And dating, you see, when you say the essence of Christian courtship is so that you will not sin, that is all. They just start touch lighting so that you people do not fornicate, so that you people are not alone, so that, listen, when the essence of your doctrine is so that people do not sin or fornicate, then why would it be courtship you would choose? Or what you ought to have chosen is dating, because dating prevents, there is nothing emotional in dating. They are checking each other out to see. So it does not go into a sexual relationship until they have agreed and seen that, okay, this is the kind of person I want to marry. So the question, the point for me here is that the nomenclature, the choice of words are very wrong. When you say Christian courtship, there is actually nothing called Christian courtship. Where is it in the Bible? What you have in the Bible is the culture of the Jews, which is to approach parents. And there has been a big problem with that. That is why adultery was very predominant in Israel. When you check Israel, you would see adultery, except in cases of adultery, because people marry people they don't want to marry. You have the women being imposed to marry and someone that the family wants them to marry, or the church says that this is whom they should marry, or that is when you give your authority away. Then you have the person you are with and then the person you love. That was why adultery was so predominant in Israel, because of this history of imposing spouses only if the family agrees. You wake up and they tell you that, well, this person has come. Courtship is designed to persuade into marriage. Dating is to check. You retain your right to choose, to say yes, to say no. And this is where the problem is. That is why a lot of people, they tell you immediately you are start a relationship, bring the person to church, let us see the person. So if they like the person, no matter what happens, you are going to marry that person. Because they would immediately they see the person, they just say, okay, let us start marriage counseling. The issue is not marriage counseling. The issue is, can they even marry in the first place? Are they suitable? Are they compatible? That is what they should. You don't just, because somebody comes to ask, and look at it, always starts with this: I want to marry you, or you are the kind of girl I want to marry, or I have prayed and you are the. Everything starts with marriage, which is supposed to be the last.
Olumide, can you hold on that thought? This is indeed an interesting conversation. Lagos, do not go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. We're talking courtship and dating. What do you know about courtship and dating? Olumide started with a huge shocker this morning, and he said courtship takes away the choice of marriage from the spouse, and even the couple, and hands it over to the family or a higher authority. Did you know about this?
I'm hearing drums.
I don't do that. Who will?
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Dating here, do you know the irony of this? You would say you want to practice Christian courtship, but when you want to marry, you now marry traditionally.
That's deep.
You will now say you are doing traditional marriage and Christian courtship. So what is there are two totally different things. You understand? It tells you that at the end of the day, the tradition and the culture of where you are from. You see, the Bible does not tell you how to marry, when to marry, where to marry, how long, or whom to marry. It leaves that purely for your culture, your customs, your tradition. Because the Jewish tradition is not the same all over the world. Over here, I won't look at Hope now and say, Hope, I like this girl. Next thing, hope you just wake up tomorrow and you see my family in your house telling your mother that my son saw. That is not what we do here. Do you understand? But that is what the Jews do, and that is their own courtship called betrothal. That is what they do. But what we do here is totally different. So when you come to impose on a group of people, and what really I find insulting is where the entire process of relationships is in someone's manual. They say it is our handbook. You know, this is the doctrine of this is our handbook. So no matter how complicated your issue might be or easy, it is just the same handbook. And we know that there are no people with exactly the same kinds of problems or issues. You know, there's always a twist. And it is the same thing. Don't worry. You know, every marriage has its own. You pray. What he needs is mentorship. You know, we'll take him through marriage counseling. The issue is, are they compatible to even get married? Dating lets you see the character of the person and informs your choice. Where you meet, you know, everything is informal. It is where you are able to relax and talk to the person. You people talk first. You learn about him, where he grew up, the schools he went to, his views about life, what he wants to be in the future, how you come in. Those are discussions you should have. Those are what you call dates. You go on dates. Dates are external events. You go out. And the beautiful thing about dates is that you can also date with your friends, as in all of you. His friends come, your own friends come. You now have the opportunity to see the kind of people he hangs out with. They say, show me your friends and I will tell you who you are. So by the time you meet his friends or you meet her friends, you can have an idea when you hear them talk that, this one's. Now, wow. You understand? But where somebody just comes and then, you know, you see immediately they come, you just take them to the church or you take them to your family. It is a very wrong step. Because you don't submit your rough work, you submit your project. You need to have found out about this person before you take the person to any authority.